Welcome back to Yu Yu Hakusho Anime Review, Part 4. This one I'm going to be reviewing the final season of the Yu Yu Hakusho anime. Yes, the final season. After this video is done, 2 more videos left to review the 2 films, which I'm about to start watching soon, and final thoughts on the whole entire anime and what do I think of the and what I think that what more that the Yu Hakusho franchise could do. Even though the last thing publisher came out for the thing was when the anime ended 11 years ago. Yep. That'll be discussed in 2 videos from this point, because next one's going to be, after this one's going to be the films. Alright, final season show. Really good season. It did wrap up most of the loose ends in the series. Basically, they referenced when they had Yusuke. Basically, Yusuke, because he's having some trouble adjusting to the adjusting after what happened at the end of the previous season. He's kind of feeling a bit downish, so he tried to go visit Genkai, and Genkai doesn't much information. So he's asked to go visit the first spirit detective, a woman. Yep, a woman. Who basically, when he finally meets her, when he gets to her place, because he even comments like, why does everybody love nature? Yeah, because her house is simply behind like a big fence, has a bunch of trees. Yeah. And fence and trees. Yeah, and as soon as he gets there, he gets attacked by her kids. No, seriously, he gets attacked by her kids. Little boy and little girl. Cute kids. Yeah, and he basically goes to her for advice, and she mentions, I just kind of brought this up in the last video, but it's okay to bring up again. Basically, she does know about the her successor. She has Suisu, I think his name is. They actually have met once when she was stepping down. The reason why she stopped being the spirit detective was because she wanted a family. Fine by her. Go for it. Praise her for it. And her husband is a writer, and apparently he's also a fortune teller too, which is kind of odd. Yeah. And apparently she knew nothing about the whole tunnel from demon world to human world. She knew nothing about that at all. And the Yusuke's like, okay. Yeah. He's like, what are you talking about? Yeah. And they're talking for a good while. And then all of a sudden, 3 people show up who look like frickin' monks. And these people are demons. Yeah, sometimes demons in the show can take a human-like appearance. And 2 or 3 of them are A-class demons, and the one who generally kind of acts like Yusuke's second command later on afterwards, he's an S-class demon. But the only reason why they're able to pass the barrier no problem is because their power has been downgraded to a D-class. And the reason for that is because they have this disgusting, how should I put this attachment to that they put on their chest so they can pass through the barrier. And they only can stay in the real world for a very brief period of time. And then, of course, they wanted to go back because he wanted them to take out his ancestor, who apparently is alive and well after so many centuries. And from the look at the flashbacks, basically, when Yusuke meets the guy, apparently he met the woman who started the line that led to Yusuke. Started back in feudal Japan. No, seriously, it's feudal Japan. How? Well, no guns, no cars. Even though some houses, from even modern day perspective, for some people who live in modern day Japan, basically there are some houses that are like that, with the whole kind of mansion type of thing where it's kind of look like outside and then slide thing. Yeah. I have never been to Japan, so I don't know how it is, but I've seen some anime where that's normally the case, and the whole thing of, basically a small step to take off your shoes. Now, these guys, when they came into the first respective house, they didn't take off their shoes. They basically just got up there. They basically were like slippers, and they just got down They sit down, basically cross their legs, just to explain everything. Despite the fact they left us up, and apparently the guy Ryzen, I think his name is, apparently he used to be he's a demon who apparently eats humans. Yes, and apparently after he slept with a woman, he gave it all up. He never ate human ever again. And apparently the reason, and he wanted to meet with her again because she was such a, and from seen from the flashback, gorgeous looking woman, who apparently was a healer. And apparently he does know about doctors, so yeah, he does know about that. And every time that his stomach growls, apparently that it can use it to tell time. And it's even shown basically every time his stomach growls, his body sort of decreases in size. Yeah. And he's quite a big guy. And of course, when Yusuke first meets him, they get into a fight. A brutal fight. Though basically, and later on, apparently he's fought him several times after this. Yeah. And he fights him while sitting on while sitting on a throne. Yep. And of course, basically later on, they explain basically the reason why he wants, well, Yusuke to see them. And he explains the whole backstory type of thing. And of course, Hiei and Kurama are invited back to Demon World. Kurama is invited to one of the three kings' kingdoms, basically. And this guy's kingdom is basically a modern city. Yeah. This guy has built a modern city. Despite the fact, and I gotta hand it to the animators. They did a great job animating this particular city. It looks so freaking gorgeous, beautiful colors, top-notch job. Yusuke's ancestors' kingdom is basically a bunch of stone towers. Okay, you don't see much of Makuma, who is the third one. And here's something interesting about Makuma. Everyone thinks Makuma is a guy, and then takes off the wrappings, and it's a woman. Yeah, and when she reveals this is after she, of course, has Hide basically battled like over 500 A-class demons, and then battled the surgeon who gave him his eye that's in his forehead. Yeah, and the way they reveal that Makuma is a woman, first by taking out the bandages, and then stripping butt-ass naked for no reason. Just to show off the fact that half her body is basically, looks like it's partially, like her face is like coming off, her arm looks like it's been replaced by a cybernetic arm, and her body's like decayed. And also she has a shackle on one arm, one wrist, which later gets destroyed in the tournament, which I'll get to in a minute. Honestly, there really was no reason for this at all. And when she was doing this, she did this in front of Hiei when he's a healing tank, and when he's unconscious. Despite the fact, probably his eye probably saw the whole thing. I'm like, oh yeah, and it's kind of hinted at that she has a thing for Hiei later, which never followed upon. Nope. Now, somebody asked, like, how old is Hiei? Never mentioned in the anime or the manga. They never mention how old he is. Kurama, it's mentioned he's over 1,000 years old. Despite the fact when he's human, he has the appearance of a teenager. Okay, and he's got long hair. Fine. But yeah. And Hiei could be because, well, I mean, from looking at him, he looks like a guy in his early teens. He looks like a 13 or 14-year-old. But I'm sure he's a lot older. And they explain a lot of his backstory in this season, where apparently he was... I mean, they basically develop him really well. Same thing with Kurama, where they reveal that the guy who's leader of the Third Kingdom actually is an old friend of his. Which, okay, that's great development. And this king is blind. Apparently, it was from something in 1,000 years in the past. Oh, and whenever Kurama turns into his true self, basically puts on look like this white bandit look like robe, long silver hair and basically with a tail sticking out of his back. Yeah, that is his attire whenever he's Yosari Kurama. I think that's how you pronounce the guy's name. I have to look it up here. Yeah, it's basically his true name. Let's see here. let's see. Um, Apparently, Kurama is actually his last name before he's. Well, it's referred to as Demon Kurama, basically. Yeah, but the female announcer who basically seen him transform into this basically describes him as a handsome guy. Who knows? Probably from a lady's perspective, anyways. But yeah, and also his former rival for the previous season. Yeah, he makes an appearance in one of the episodes when he goes back to the world, the human world, to basically wrap up some personal affairs. And of course, he sent his human mother, on an all expenses paid trip honeymoon for the month of August. Which okay, and he assembles a team of 6 fighters, and they're people from the second season, which I kind of forgot these guys came back. Yeah, it's the Shinobi Warriors, the pretty guy, and yeah, 6 people. Okay, kudos. The fact he brought back these guys. And after the tournament, basically, which is a period, that's never exactly what happened to him afterwards, but it's always nice when we get a chance to see some characters come back. Yeah, and let's see, what else? Well, the odd thing about Kurama is it's never revealed exactly if he ever has a love interest. I mean, yeah, he has a mother he cares about, a human mother he cares about, but aside from that, he doesn't he doesn't get a girlfriend or anything, or at least a woman who's felt attracted to him. Though there was a couple girls in the previous seasons who kind of had a thing for him. Never revealed who their names were. And Kurama did save one of them from a bug. A demon bug that was going to basically, sort of basically bite her and turn to whatever. Yeah. Those 2 girls are, as far as I know, never seen again in the show. But it would have been nice if one of them came back and became Kurama's girlfriend. That would have been interesting. But yes, when they have Yusuke become the king of basically his ancestors' kingdom, he basically goes visit what's his name? I kind of forgot his name. Okay, basically it's the demon form. I found it's Yoko Kurama. That is basically his name, but I have to look it up here. What is the guy's name? Makuma is the one who's basically a woman. Let's see. Okay, Yomi. Yeah, this is his name, Yomi. Yomi's the guy who's no friend of Kurama's. They propose a tournament, and they pretty much kind of dissolve the 3 kingdoms right here. And the winner of the tournament becomes the new Demon King. So basically, yeah, kind of basically averted the whole Civil War thing. And here's kind of interesting though. Despite the fact that the Spirit World wanted to kill Yusuke, they're like, okay, he wants to go back to Demon World, fine, send him there. And it's nice to see the fact they're doing our tournament in this series, even though in the manga it was a little bit longer than this. In the series, it only took up about 7-8 episodes. I'm sure for some people they kind of wish the season was a little bit longer than 18 episodes. It's a quite short season. I have seen seasons shorter than this in 2 other animes I've watched. I mean, Naruto, its short season was 8 episodes. Yeah, I've also seen seasons as short as 11. Yes, 11. Now, there might have been a couple reasons why they ended the season after just 18 episodes. One, probably because people are losing interest in it. That's one possible reason. 2, maybe low ratings. That's my personal guess, anyways. Or 3, even though they probably did want to end it, but they probably only came up with 18 episodes. That could explain why the tournament's only done to like 8 or 9 episodes. Though it's done really well. And Makuma's kingdom was never really shown that really well in here. Oh yeah, and the former military advisor to Yoka, killed after just 2 episodes by Kurama in his true demon form. Yeah, though there was a guy basically kind of acts like an advisor to him. He does sort of calculations, and even though that he's no longer king, the guy stayed around. And the guy was a good commentator too, who knew things about certain people. Oh yeah, and one thing I was supposed to point out though, apparently the guy from the Shinobi Ninja team, the guy who's basically a drunk, yeah, he apparently kind of started a relationship with the Fox Lady, and then he started to fall for another woman. I don't get why. I get the fact the Fox Lady is a gorgeous woman, and I'm glad the fact that he brought her back for the final arc, because I actually thought she was an interesting character. The woman who replaced her in the second half of the Dark Tournament, good character. Not much is known about her, and she wasn't very interesting at all. Though I gotta admit, she's a lovely-looking woman. Both of them are, but the Fox Lady basically is a lot more interesting of a character, and her commentary on the matches was very, very, very insightful. And she's basically an expert on tournament rules. Now, I'm a little surprised once again, she wasn't a referee, and apparently the referees in this tournament, because apparently all the battles take place on these floating plateaus, and the referees basically flew on these flying cameras. I kind of don't get why. I kind of get why they did this for, because they probably didn't want the referees to get hurt, because there's going to be a lot of fighting. And apparently, this tournament is actually a little bit different than the Dark Tournament, because apparently no one is allowed to no one's allowed to get killed, because they want to basically have people fight again. So the only way to win a match is by knocking the opponent out, or having the opponent surrender, or simply disappearing, stuff like that. But that was the main matches. Some of the competitors actually simply killed the other ones. Messima basically won her group simply because everybody else who was part of the group dropped out. Yeah, apparently, this is kind of funny. So they all drew lots for their numbers, and then just before the start of the Battle Royales, because apparently over 6,000 demons showed up for this thing. Over 6,000, a lot. And they basically had to eliminate a lot of people, so they decided to do preliminary matches. Fine. So they were all settled in Battle Royales. Okay. Heck, one person won his Battle Royale simply by freezing all the other competitors. And that was the ice guy from I don't remember the guy's name, but he's from the Shinobi Ninja. He's from the Shinobi's mercenaries group, which I would have loved if these guys would come back a little bit more, especially in the manga. But yeah, and the tournament was actually won by a guy who was actually introduced just prior to this, and he did get a little bit of development, like to figure out who he is. Apparently, he was an old sparring partner of Razin, and his wife apparently used to be Razin's lover. Okay, and she participated in the tournament too, and apparently because of Razin's death, a lot of his former sparring partners basically decided and this is quite nice of them, they all came, put flowers in his grave, had a small wake, and then they decided to sign up for the tournament. Kudos. The tournament was actually won by the King of the Hill guy. Yeah, he actually won the tournament. And his first and only law he ever enacted was no more mischief in the human world. Okay, and here's something interesting: all the losers, anyone who lost in the tournament, get to be put on patrols, and yeah, every person who lost in the tournament basically had to do this, and they basically drove around in these giant concrete bugs all over Demon World. Okay, and apparently some humans tend to wander to the Demon World by mistake. Yeah, because of the whole agreement thing, the barrier that was kept up for centuries was brought down because of the changes there. Yep. So humans would accidentally wander into the world by accident, so they'd simply just knock them out, wipe the memory, and just put them in protection. Okay. Yeah, and in the final episode, this was so funny. Apparently, he actually made one of the papers because he thought he was an alien because he had 3 eyes. I don't know why. But yeah, and then when he's seen with Macabre, basically later on, um, it's kind of implied that possibly they may have started a relationship. I don't know. It's implied. They never stated anything at the end. But in the final episode, basically, kind of catch up. Basically, people's up to. Basically, it's been 3 years in the real life, in the human world. Kurama's gone back and forth, no problem, because well, the barrier's been down. Kazuma basically has gone to high school. He apparently is almost. He's going to college. Keiko, they don't say exactly what she's doing aside from the fact she's in high school. Though in the manga, she's going to college to become a teacher, and they kind of don't reveal. They kind of basically end a good note, but they kind of could reveal exactly like a good montage of exactly what these characters, what happened to them once the series ended. In the manga, Yukina is living with Kazuma. Why not? Because they dated each other. Yusuke opened up a ramen restaurant and tries to maintain peace between demons and humans. As for the rest of the characters, never explain exactly what happened to them. Oh yeah, and Koenma basically started out the season as a fugitive because, well, he broke the law by protecting Yusuke. Oh, Yusuke did basically get the tattoos back he had at the end of the previous season. Yeah, he did grow those back, but he didn't have the long hair again. Yeah, they kind of revealed that after the whole battle was over with the main villain of the previous season, yeah, Kurama cut off all the long hair, and then the next day the tattoos just disappeared. Though it was nice that they did. And of course, Yusuke got a chance to fight Yakin. Yep, he fought him. But he lost. Yep, he lost. But it was nice. It was a good tournament. And overall, a great season nonetheless. Trying to think. Oh yeah, the music. Still same time music they've used in the previous seasons. Like, this time they use a lot of the Toho Godzilla music. And they use a little bit of that strange music they had in the previous season. Now, when this music played, I kind of expected the main villain of the previous season to show up, but he never did. Because this thing would play every time this guy showed up. And they just did that. Also, the great fight music too. Gotta praise the anime for that. Aside from that, of course, you got a chance to see the characters go to the beach in the final episode and play and Genkai, who didn't die yet. Apparently, in her will, she basically revealed what her will is that the whole group, basically, which is Koenma, Bantan, Keiko, Kazuma, basically almost all the main characters of the series, get basically everything that's hers. Her land, her temple, her house, and her whole estate. Yeah, and apparently, as far as I can see, so it looks like she kind of owns a small county, which I'm kind of like, okay. It's great the fact she has so much acreage of land, but she must have gotten rich at some point and purchased all this land, and the fact that she probably maintained it after all these years. Somehow, I don't know. It's never explained how she got the land, just that she owned a bunch of it. But from what I look in the anime and a little bit what they show in the manga, she looks like she owns a whole county. Basically, it kind of looks like it could be half of Pasco County she could basically own, basically when it comes to forest. Yeah, that's my personal guess. I don't know what the size of her land is. They never basically showed on them. They never, the creator of the manga never printed out a map for it, and Yusuke basically apparently just stuck around Demon World for who knows how long, just settling stuff. And he finally comes back, and everybody's so happy to see him. Keiko, basically, first thing she does as soon as she sees him is that she runs, tackles him, and kisses him. Good job, girl. Yeah, but it's a great season nonetheless. I'm kind of glad the fact it's not as dark as the previous season, because they probably need something light to sort of end the series. So kudos, basically, for that. From what I can tell, I was told that the whole manga was definitely adapted. But I think certain bits that weren't adapted, like there was like a 1 year jump that basically kind of explained like what happens to certain characters like during the 1 year jump type of thing. As far as I can tell, they never adapted that, and they didn't show exactly what happened to characters right after the anime ended, right after the manga ended. They never printed that for some reason. I have no idea why, but story-wise, they pretty much adapted everything. Excuse me. But aside from that, that's really it. That's all I gotta say. It's a great season. So that's it for this video. Stay tuned for when I get a chance to do part 5, which is on the 2 films, and part 6, where I'm going to reveal my final thoughts on the series and what else I think that the series could do if, let's say, if the creator wanted to do anything else with it. This is just my ideas I'm going to throw out there. Okay? But until then, I will see you there. Bye.